How do medical students remember so much? How do they study so many fat books, study so many subjects and still kind of remember everything? Well, the answer is, let's find out in this video. So, hello guys, I'm Rhitama. I'm a fourth year medical student in a government medical college in West Bengal, and seeing all the new admissions in my college, I decided to make a video just for the first year people. So, since you are just like new here, you're probably hearing the names of so many different books. Grays, Harrison's, like Harvard, there's so many books, right? So, do you need to buy all these books? If there are so many books, when will you get time to study all of them? So, today I'm going to talk about the books for your subjects, which are anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. And also, I'm going to talk about the books which you're going to read, which is the first category of books. Second is the ones which you're probably going to use as reference, and the ones which you can study if you want like extra information, and or if you're like a topper who wants to know everything. And thirdly, the exam ke night ke pehle wala books which saves our ass all the time. And number 4 is if there is any practical ka book or these subjects. And practical ka books you don't need for like all of the subjects. So I'm going to tell you guys if you need or any resources. Okay. So without further work, let's get started. Coming to anatomy, the first thing I'm going to tell you guys is don't go and buy Grays. You're going to hear it, but what happens is people buy Grays and then it stays in the shelf, and then you're like, why did I buy this book? And Grays is pretty expensive. So I never bought it, thankfully. And it's a great book, okay, but it's so vast. You can never complete it and then you feel demotivated and all that. So for anatomy, we are going to divide it into various parts like, so there's gross anatomy, there's general anatomy, there is embryology. So now for general anatomy, I follow this book. It's called Principles of General Anatomy by A.K. Dr. Sir. So in general anatomy, what you should do is you should seek the previous year's question papers and that year's SEM papers and just study that, okay? You don't need to study the entire book because it's vast. There's already so much gross anatomy, so much embryology. So general anatomy says there's less marks, but make sure you solve the previous year's question paper and that year's SEM papers from various colleges. And because usse hi aata hai, okay? It's the questions come very common wale. So that is about general anatomy. Now for embryology, I think for embryology, there's this book called Keith and Moore, which is like the gold standard. So if you're somebody who is really enthusiastic about embryology, you can buy that book. But that book can't be your staple book. So for that, the staple book is this, Human Embryology by Dr. Inderpreet Singh. It's great. Now about embryology, study embryology from the very beginning because ek saath paroge na, it will be very clustered. So study embryology as you're studying the systems, because firstly I did that whole thing, ek saath ka thing, it didn't work out. So while you're studying a gross anatomical system, study uska embryology so you'll remember very easily, okay? So this is about embryology. Buy this Inderpreet Singh book, it's very good. And if you want to know more, or if you're really passionate about how the child develops, you can go for Keith and Moore. Keith and Moore is a foreign author book. It's a great book. Now I'm coming to gross anatomy. Now for gross anatomy, the thing is, you don't know kab ek aur lockdown hoga, right? Or you don't know if you attend all the dissection class or if you understand everything. So for that, I think when you're doing gross anatomy, it's best that you have an atlas with you. I personally think Netter's atlas is the best atlas because everything is described so beautifully, and if you buy that, you can use it for your surgery postings or surgery. I bought Macmillan's. Macmillan's is also great. So Netter's and Macmillan's are the ones people buy the most. Now in Netter's, I think there are more diagrams which are drawn, beautifully drawn. But in Macmillan's, the thing is, it's like from the real human body, okay? So if you're somebody who doesn't know if they will attend the dissection classes, or you're not understanding dissection classes mein kya ho raha hai, you need to see a real human body ka thing, you can go for Macmillan's, because I personally took Macmillan's and Netter's atlas ka PDF in my phone. So it worked out really well. And another thing is, in anatomy, if you miss your dissection classes, everything goes blurred. It's huge. I'm not demotivating you, but anatomy is kind of huge. But if you go to dissection classes regularly and you see the thing you are studying in the human body, you remember it. If you see a particular triangle they are teaching you about, you remember it, because literally exact same thing body mein dikhta hai. So anatomy is all about correlating. So don't miss your dissection classes. Bunk kuch bhi else, but don't bunk your dissection classes. They are very, very important. Okay, so the gross anatomy, the book that is followed the most across the country is, I feel, BDC. BDC is great. This is what BDC looks like. In some pages, you also find like real body shape pictures. This is BDC. You have applied parts in these things. You have the diagrams and everything. BDC is a great book. Anatomy mein, my personal favorite is Vishram Singh. I'll say everybody go and buy the 4 volumes of Vishram Singh, because the language is very good. And in anatomy, draw diagrams for literally every answer you answer. Okay. So Vishram Singh diagrams are honestly the best, because it's बहुत easy. Anybody can draw it. And the language is very easy to remember. बहुत अच्छी तरीके से heading देके various colors में highlight करके they gave. So I will say go and buy the 4 volumes of Vishram Singh. It's a great book. But if you are somebody who thinks V.D. Chaurasia ka language is better for them, good. So it's either Vishram Singh or V.D. Chaurasia. Now for thorax and abdomen, one book is studied in various parts of the country and also in WBUHS is AKD. It can also do it, take it for other parts of the body also. But I personally feel AKD is more vast. You can stick to BDC or Vishram Singh. I'll say Vishram Singh, because utna hi lagta hai, like you don't need it so much. At least not for your like university ka exam. Your college needs that, or professors are asking you to prepare from AKD for the Viva or the diagrams and anything. You can go for AKD. It's a good book. So this is what AKD looks like. It's Essentials of Human Anatomy by A.K. Dotto sir. The same person, this ka general anatomy book I asked you guys to study. Now for histology mein don't buy a book. You don't need to like have a full-fledged book. But just very important is have a PDF, because you have to draw from there. So get whatever your professors ask, from where they ask you to draw. It's usually of Inderbir Singh sir only. So that is for the histology part. Now that is it for anatomy. As I said, don't miss your dissection classes, and don't get scared. If you need anything, you can go to Grace for reference from the library or from your phone ka PDF. Don't buy it just now. Physiology is one of those subjects which I personally loved a lot, because it's like a story, like your body ka various mechanisms. It's so beautiful. So physiology mein, I'll tell you something. You'll find a lot of like fat books that people talk about, like Guyton, Ganam. Now Guyton is great. I personally love the language of Guyton, because if you study Guyton, so you'll understand what they're saying. But I don't have Guyton. So Guyton is like this fat. Okay. So the moment you see it, you're like, So if you have a doubt, go and consult from Guyton, but don't buy Guyton. Or if you buy it, don't make it your staple book. As for Ganam is way more concise, but personally, I didn't find the language of Ganam very easy to remember. It's easy to understand. I don't know if it's easy to understand, because I personally found it difficult. But for competitive exams, Ganam is great. But I don't think it's something you can make your staple book, I will say stick to Indian authors. For Indian authors, the person whose language is very, very lucid, and I think it's followed all over the country, is Sembulingam. So Sembulingam is a great book, because it has every piece of information you need for physiology, and in a very good language, illustrations and everything. However, if you are a West Bengal University of Health Sciences ka person, close your eyes, go to the nearby bookshop and buy this book. This is Debashish Pramane. It's a great book. It has everything in it. Very concise, very good. And everything your professors will ask, or like Viva May, and they will be from this book only. It has everything. However, if you think that this book is not enough for you, because this book is like NCERT, okay? So they might say a sentence but might not explain it. So for explanations, physiology, I don't think you should go for big reference books, because there are really, really good lectures by Dr. Najib and various other people available on YouTube mein. So study those, you watch those videos and then study from these books. I think it will be enough. So for theory, I think you should buy Debashish Pramanik if you are from West Bengal, or you can buy it from other states as well. It's a very good book. and Sembolingam. These two are like the staple books you will study for the entire year. And for practical, now physiology is one of those subjects where you have to buy a separate book for practical. So for practical, basically you have to see what is like in your college, what book people follow. Devashish Pramanik has a practical book which is very good. I studied from there. But like people are saying now what books to buy now. So buy a practical book for physiology because you will need it. You need it for all the reflexes. Because in physiology, theory and practical are different. So that was it for physiology. Now in biochemistry, the book I am going to talk about is Vasudevan. Go and get Vasudevan because it's a great book. It has all illustrations and everything, It has like real case scenario pictures. The pathways are shown like beautifully. It has its own tables and all. Everything. It's a great book. So Vasudevan is basically the book I studied from. It was the book I studied throughout the year, exam ke pehle bhi. And the thing about biochemistry is I feel it has the least syllabus among all the first year subjects. So don't neglect it because biochemistry is very, very, very scoring. So it will literally shoot your total up. But if you neglect it, at least in a week, study it for 2 days. Like, it shouldn't happen that exam ke pehle you are like. And another mistake we do with biochemistry is we think nothing is like, anyway, we are not remembering anything, so we'll study it later. But it's not true. When you study, you remember stuff. Okay? And when you're studying the cycles, study the cycle ka disorder with it. Okay? But don't study just the cycle and then you don't know the applied importance. So yeah. So in some colleges, Vasudevan, and in other colleges, there's Satyanarayan. Satyanarayan, for me, I really like the language. I feel like Satyanarayan as a book is better. I mean, as in it has more content, but the language is better. It's more easier to remember, easier to understand. But then if most people are studying from Vasudevan, they study from Vasudevan. However, you guys from Koda and various other sources, you might hear the name of this one book. It's called Harper. Now, Harper is a great book, okay? It is like the gold standard book for biochemistry. But at the same time, understand one thing. You guys already have a vast syllabus and bahut kam time hai because NEET got postponed and everything. So you can't make Harper your main book. I'm talking about almost everybody here. About like if you can make it, great. But you can't make it the book you study the entire year, okay? So don't buy Harper. These are foreign author books. They're pretty expensive. Every college has a Harper in their library. So if you need it for reference or anything, go to the library, get the study from there and come back. Don't make the mistake of following it from the very beginning because eventually you need to buy one of Vasudevan or Satyanarayan or the staple college wale books. So yeah. Also another thing is keep Harper PDF in your phone. Then it's even easier because then if you have a reference, if you need to have a doubt, you can just see it from there. However, talking about foreign author books, one book is a personal favorite is Lippincott. Lippincott is basically a great book because I feel you have all the information there in a very concise way and a very, very lucid, understandable manner. So if you are somebody who doesn't like the language of English authors, you can basically go for Lippincott because you can make Lippincott your go-to book. Even that way it's good. So Lippincott is one of those books that followed in various other countries as well. So if you're somebody who's aiming for other exams, competitive exams for going abroad, you can go for Lippincott because it's not very difficult. The language is great and it has everything. So that was for biochemistry. Another thing is the exam ke pehle wala notes thing. So exam ke pehle, if you, as I said in other subjects as well, if your university has books for which has all the exams questions solved for the previous exams, great. But apart from that, I don't think you need a question answer book because in both Vasudevan and Satyanarayan, it's basically the cycle and the applied importance. They ask you the diseases of the applied importance or steps of the cycle. So alag se, the syllabus is such that you don't need alag se question answers. So you can just study from there. As for practical, the best part about biochemistry is that if you do theory well, your practical is done there. Okay, they mainly ask questions from theory. The practical part is basically what you do. Okay, so if you have a well-maintained logbook, you can just study that logbook. You don't need alag se a separate book for that. And another thing is study biochemistry ka practical very well because if your biochemistry ka practical is clear, तुम्हारा pathology ka practical 50% हो जाएगा. So fill the logbook well, study it, know what you're doing, because they are going to ask you what you're doing. There's no such book, practical, alag se kuch syllabus for biochemistry, okay? Another question I get very often is from my juniors, do we need to go for marrow and dams just yet? So the answer is, like, you guys just gave a competitive and now you're preparing for another one. Give yourselves 1 year ka break. Trust me when I say this, first year is vast. University exams clear karne mein a lot of energy is spent. But the good part is, you'll find a lot of it common with the, if you study the university part well, you'll be able to answer competitive questions. So take marrow dams, whatever you want to from your second year, I guess. Give yourselves a break from competitive exams for 1 year. However, if you guys want to see, this is what marrow ka books look like. It's very pretty. The covering is bahut sundar. This is for physiology. This is for, you can guess by the size. It's for anatomy, and last one is obviously for biochemistry. It's very, marrow cup notes are very pretty. It looks like handwritten only. See, okay, wait, I'll show you guys. So it looks like it's handwritten and it's very beautifully written, but I'll say wait a year, buy it next year. So that was it, guys. I hope this video helped you. If you want to say anything or ask me or give any video recommendations, anything you want to talk video on, you can write it in the comments section. It's a Chotu channel. Help it grow, and like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon. And all the best. I'm so proud of you guys for like clearing NEET and living your dreams. So best of luck for this journey. I hope you get the best of it. Best of luck. Ta-ta.